I'm a little rusty, y'all. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Enlightning. My name is Whitney Lee. I'm a senior technical advocate at Datadog, and I'm here with my friend Lin. Lin, will you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, everybody. Very excited to see you, Whitney. I'm so excited to be here. Okay, quick intro. I guess I'm the head of open source at Solo.io. I've been in the cloud native community for a very long time, 10 plus years. It's kind of crazy. So I'm actually wrapping up my CNCF TOC role next week. So I'm
Yeah.
also the KubeCon co-chair. I'm a maintainer for a couple of projects. Kagent, which is the one we're going to talk about today, and also Istio and Kgateway. So
I
very excited to chat with you today.
I don't know if you're like one of a set of triplets or what. I don't know how you're able to do all of that TOC and KubeCon co-chair and maintainer of three projects when you
Yeah,
sleep.
I think I got really, really lucky. Part of my job is focusing on open source. It's kind of
Mhm.
increase the brand of what we do in the open source. So I actually don't work. I'm not saying I never work overtime, but I don't work a whole lot overtime as you might be imagine. So
Well, thank you so much for being on the show and for all that you do in the cloud native community. So let's get started. You're here to teach today about Knative. Those of you who are unfamiliar with the show, I know absolutely nothing about the topic of the show today. I know nothing about Knative. I said Knative even instead of
K-agent.
K agent. Just demonstrating how little I know.
Was
So Lynn is going to teach me from scratch, and in doing so, also going to teach you from scratch. And I'm behind a light board. I'm here with the marker, and so we'll fill up the board with the knowledge that we learned together. And I can't fake like I know something that I don't truly understand if I'm writing it on the board. So it
That's
keeps me
awesome.
honest. Yeah. So let's start by telling me what the world was like before K Agent. What problem existed that helped it to get created?
Yeah, absolutely. So we created K-Agent, I believe, in March, a little bit before March last year. And in 2024, if I remember the timing correctly, we had a big hurricane, Helene, in the southeast region of the United States, which is where I live. I don't know if it impacted Austin, Texas. But during that weekend, there was a lot of people's home get impacted because the flooding and some of the mountain area, particularly in where I live in western side of North Carolina, well, they never had flooding during hurricane, but it become a big problem during Hurricane Helene. So as a company, Solo focused on API gateway and service mesh in 2024. And some of our customers were insurance provider. Guess who got impacted during hurricane?
I was
So
wondering how the weather had to do with K agents.
right. So during that weekend, I'm not going to name it, but their system got crashed because everybody got impacted, was very busy filing insurance claims. And some of our best engineers had to jump on the calls on the weekend to help troubleshooting the networking problem because they were using our API gateway, and it's an important hub. As users submit the claims, it goes to the API gateway. I think it was in AWS cloud, and then you have to figure out which hub has the problem, right? So we
Uh-huh.
started thinking about, how do we actually be able to transform that knowledge of networking and troubleshooting from some of our top engineers to all the other engineers in the org, particularly the engineers who support our customers quite a lot. So that's when we started thinking about, the knowledge transfer in an intuitive way. And that's also when AI agents, everybody was talking about MCP, if you remember, in
Uh-huh.
2024. And the AI agents starts become a thing with, people using ChatGPT to coding agent. So we started thinking about, well, we are from the cloud native world. Our users and ourselves knows Kubernetes, are familiar with declarative YAML. How can we transform the knowledges from some of the engineers who are domain expert in specific area to the rest of the engineers or support engineer inside of the company? So that's how when we started with K Agent, it's to helping our users and also our which includes our internal users, to be able to, troubleshooting networking issue, to be
Mm-hmm.
able to onboarding our engineers faster and help our customer to, navigate something they are not familiar with, but somebody else already had that experience. And through
Yeah.
conversation provided by agent, they can just use a natural language to ask a question, and hopefully the answer is mostly right. I mean, we don't expect to replace the best engineers, but we're
Uh-huh.
hoping it would be, co-working and coexist, like how coding agent help you to be more efficient. Yeah.
Yeah. So the story you're telling, the knowledge lies only with the domain experts. And when we say knowledge, do we need networking knowledge specifically, or more general, like Kubernetes expertise?
That's a great question. So when we started thinking initially, we were thinking about networking knowledge
Uh-huh.
inside of Kubernetes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Traditionally, like a firewall, API gateway, and network load balancer, different hubs, network policy,
Yeah.
access policy. But then we started thinking about, well, if it's only solving that one problem, it's not as exciting. So we started thinking about how can we produce something that's more like a framework. What are the agent framework out there we can potentially
Mm.
utilize and support? That's how also when we started with K Agent, we had the mission of bring agentic AI to the cloud native ecosystem using API and the declarative languages that everybody already familiar with.
So at first, Kubernetes networking knowledge, and then we haven't defined K agent yet, but but you've figured out a way to add any domain specific knowledge into K agent. It sounds like.
Oh yeah, that's through agents and MCP server, right?
Okay.
So basically, as we started having this problem, we were thinking a little bit bigger to
Uh
having
huh.
this agent framework that's running natively in Kubernetes, where
Mm-hmm.
users can plug in their agents, deploy it in the framework, where users can develop their MCP server and having their agent config to use the MCP server, where users can define what large language model they prefer, and then have their agent config to use the large language model. And it's all in a declarative way, which is very familiar to users already familiar with Kubernetes and cloud native ecosystem.
So to paint the picture just before K agent, I like all of that stuff you just said. I expect to get on the board and dig into. But before K agent, the knowledge lies only with the domain experts, and LLMs are getting wide adoption. So K agent is coming into the scene to combine these two things. So with LLMs, we can maybe codify the experts' knowledge and use LLMs to proliferate it and make it accessible with just regular native speaking. So instead of writing that on the board, what I'd like to write on the board is a sentence that starts with K agent is. So what is K agent?
Uh,
Or first of all, let me ask you a question. Do you think this sums up before K agent well enough, or is there anything you'd like to add there?
That's before K-agent, right? What this
Yes.
sums up. I would
Yes.
say, so the knowledge, yeah, that's the problem we have. I would say the other thing I would add is people may be running agents outside of Kubernetes,
Ah,
coding agents on their laptops.
okay. Um,
And also, it might be worth mentioning about MCP exists, right? Because large language
uh-huh.
model is kind of limited. It can do specific things, and it can be outdated. The data can be outdated. Yeah, so it's worth mentioning. MCP is also an important standard in the ecosystem.
Okay, so this is the magic atmosphere that was happening when K-Agent was born. And I want to take a quick moment just to say hi to everyone in chat. I haven't seen y'all in so long. So hello to Luke, hello to Spaceboy, and hello to Shah Zaid. Nice to see you all. So, all right, so let's get to that definition of what K-Agent is.
Yeah. In a nutshell, I would say K-Agent is an open source programming framework designed for DevOps engineer and platform engineer to easily build and run AI agents in Kubernetes.
It's an open source development framework,
Programming framework.
programming framework. And then it does what? That does what?
Okay. For DevOps and platform engineers to run, to build and run AI agents in Kubernetes.
Okay. I have questions about platform engineers to build and run AI agents on Kubernetes.
Yeah.
Okay. The question right off the bat, is the AI agent being run on Kubernetes? Is it a general purpose AI agent? It can be for anything, or is it meant to be a Kubernetes focused AI
That's a great
agent?
question. Yeah, so it doesn't have to be Kubernetes focused. So inside of a K-agent, we ship a bunch of sample agents. We have a
Mm-hmm.
Kubernetes agent, we have a Cilium agent, we have a Istio agent. I think we have an Argo rollout agent. We have a
Oh.
Prometheus agent. So different project could have their own agent. It's kind of like the knowledge powerhouse of their project. So
Uh-huh.
to interact with, and different projects also could have their MCP server and configure their agents to use it. For instance, I've been using the Argo CD MCP server myself, right, quite a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
what's interesting is this is a programmable framework where you could compose the agent. You can compose it in a way to say, this is the instruction I have for my agents, and this is the tools my agent is going to use. This is the models I want my agent to use. And I can also configure whether my agent is the simplest agent type is like the default agent type, or I'm bringing my own agent, or I'm doing a sandbox agent. So you can all configure that with K-agent.
So you're like with K-Agents, you're in charge of your own army of Kubernetes specific or cloud native specific agents, including Cilium, Istio, Argo rollouts, you said, and more.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can yeah, you can develop those agents or bring them more easily, very easily, and run them in K-agent.
So K-Agent doesn't ship with that. That's just examples of what you might build with K-Agent.
We do ship these projects I mentioned. Yeah, we do ship
Okay.
as part of as an example. Yeah, I can't say they are like the perfect one, but we expect people to take a look and customize and build their own as they see fit.
So how about this? Let's talk about, I do want to capture those agents that are possible, that are working under the hood. But maybe I want to frame it like you did when you're talking about Kagent config. So what are things you can, when you're making an agent, like for with Kagent, what's the kind of config you can set?
Yeah, so basically we ship a customer resource. It's called, the type is called agent, right? So
Okay.
in that customer resource, you can specify your um, type of the agent, first of all, where you can say whether you are using the declarative type, which is the default type, or whether you are using bring your own, or whether you are using the sandbox type.
Okay.
I think we just launched the support for like the Nemo Claw type. So that was just yesterday. So you can basically configure what type of agent you want your agent to be. And then
Okay.
you can also put instructions for your agent, like the prompt for your agent. So you can give your agent a description and configure which namespace you want to run your agent. Um, and you can specify which model you want to use for your agent. I think you can configure default model in Kagent, but you can also use, I think the default is GPT, but you can use Gemini and Anthropic. Just, configure your API with those. What else? Then you can also specify what MCP server tools you want your agent to use.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
that's basically that's how the declarative YAML looks like for agent.
so tools, again, is that bring your own tools, or does Kagent supply some tools that you're able to use easily?
Yeah, we do provide probably around 100
Wow.
MCP tools that you could easily use. Some of the tools such as Kubernetes, get logs, get events, apply manifest,
Ah,
YAML, some of the basic one. But you can also bring your own. One of the common example I bring is, for instance, the GitHub MCP server or Argo MCP server. So the framework is very, very extensible for you to build any agents running in Kagent.
I've literally built kubectl get and kubectl kubectl describe tools before. So
Okay,
I get
yeah.
why
So you
you'd want
know
to.
yeah, yeah. So those are the example, we just decided it makes sense to ship. So for people easily build their own agents on top of Kagents. Let me see if I'm missing anything. I actually have my book next to me.
What is your book that's next to you exactly?
Okay, so I wrote this book with Christian Postal, who is my co-worker, AI agents in Kubernetes, where we
Very cool.
touch, there was a chapter we touch on K-agent. I think
I
I
don't.
actually wrote that chapter, so, but it's hard to remember with everything moving so fast with AI these days. Oh my gosh.
Space Joy says cheating. I think
All
is it
right.
cheating if it's your own book? I don't know. Um, okay, so there's a lot of assumed knowledge about, we're assuming the viewers right now know about building agents generally. So maybe I want to back up just a little bit and say, if you if you're building agents anywhere, regardless of whether they're meant to run on Kubernetes, you need to have like a system prompt that tells the agent like what its goal is in the first place, what type of agent, what is it meant to do. And then you need to have a description of your agent. So
Yeah,
if there's another agent that has the ability to call your agent, it knows, it has a description to access it. Which model I think is self-explanatory. And then tools are ways that your agent that you're building is able to reach outside of its environment to get more information about something, literally anything. We've talked about these control commands, and you talked about
yeah,
what Argo.
yeah.
So we're providing in this Kagent, or the agent you said is a Kubernetes custom resource.
Yeah, it's a customer resource provided by the K-Agent project. So as you're building your agents in K-Agent, by the way, you can using your favorite like code tool to build it, like Visual Studio Code or Cursor to build it, or you can build it in the UI. But typically people build it with their code editing tool and store in GitHub. All the benefits we have with declarative YAML can come with the agents. And then once you want to test the agent, you just need to do kubectl apply and apply this agent YAML to your cluster, or you can, use Argo to roll it into your cluster. That's all possible. And when your agent is deployed in the Kubernetes cluster, it's going to spin off a pod and also a service. So the agent have its own identity. It has its own service account. Yeah.
Okay. So the agent custom resource, it creates a pod and a service account.
Yeah, pod and service account.
Um, cool. So creates pod. And so the pod that your agent runs in a service so it can connect to the cluster networking, and then a service account for identity.
Yeah. And so basically, in K-Agent, now that maybe we can talk about components in K-Agent, because we talk about like agent YAML, how you deploy that. So we have a controller that can process the agent resource, the model config resource. And also the remote, I think there was a remote MCP server resource. Let me double check. So basically, that can process this resource. Yeah, remote MCP server resource.
Okay.
And transform them to the corresponding Kubernetes resources if needed, right? For instance, the agent resource we talk about, it will be transformed to Kubernetes pods, to Kubernetes services, Kubernetes service account, and then make the deployment as you deploy them.
Okay. So it watches the agent CRD and then makes the pod service and service account. And then I need to leave room for my face. So I need to cool. And pod service and service account. So that's down here. It also what other CRDs did you say it's watching?
Yeah, it's watching 5 or 6 of them might be a little bit too
Okay.
much, but
Okay. What
a
other
good
note?
example is the MCP server CRD that might be useful.
Okay.
And then also a remote MCP server, because you might be, importing a remote MCP server, GitHub MCP server that's hosted somewhere else. You want to import it into your Kubernetes cluster and have K-Agent config to use it. There's also model config, which is the which model, answer that which model question in your agent configuration. So I'll give this as a basic example, but we support more than that, more custom.
Okay.
Than that. Yeah. So K-Agent controller does that. We also have a UI and CLI as part of K-Agent. The UI and CLI allows you to easily construct your agent, build your agent, and be able to kind of interact with your agent, that you can do the conversation with the agent. I think we support like through voice control, so you can talk to your agent, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you can see the chat history too, which is nice. You can also drive your agent, K-Agent through MCP server, like what I did in my KubeCon demo, where I was using Cursor to talk to my K-Agent agents, which is pretty nice too.
So it has a CLI and a web UI?
Yeah, and also have can be exposed as MCP server, so it can talk to a coding agent. So you can use a code
Ah,
to talk to Kagent agents, which is cool.
cool.
Yeah, let me
Okay,
see
I'm
what
gonna
else
just.
is important.
Well, you're just throwing stuff right at me. I have questions, so you can give me a second to catch up, and I'll ask you some
All
questions.
right.
NCP interfaces. Um, cool. So, okay. These are my questions. So again, I'm trying to wrap my head around. It almost can do so much. It's a little hard to be like, okay, this is used to run stuff on Kubernetes. So it's making it easy because it's giving me, if I want to make an agent and I want my agent to run on Kubernetes, I have a lot of custom resources to not only have my agent, that my custom whatever business logic agent that I want to run, but also to have any supporting models or supporting MCP servers or supporting other stuff that it needs to access to help get all of that running on Kubernetes. So that's super cool. Um, but yeah, I guess what I want to help what I want you to help me understand right now is the
Yeah.
agents that are underneath Kagent, like the Cilium agent and the Istio agent that you mentioned up at the top. How do those fit in?
Ah, that's a great question. So we talk about agent config, right? So
Uh-huh.
I'll give you an example with Istio agent, for instance, right? So basically, Istio agent has its own Istio agent.yaml file, which
Okay.
in that YAML file, it would fill in the instructions, the prompt for the agent, what are the tools it wants the agent to use. So it basically fill out the description of the agents, it kind of configure what the Istio agent should do. Um,
Okay. And are these like a CRD for agents that already exist, or you just have an Istio agent already made with the regular agent CRD that
yes.
someone can use? Yeah.
So agent, we provide, as part of OK Agent, we provide agent customer resource definition, which is CRD, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Istio agent is an agent customer resource. I wouldn't call it a definition
Okay.
because it kind of specify using this customer resource definition and figure out the concrete plan for the agents.
Okay. So an Istio agent that you can use as part of Kagent is an instance of the agent CRD that's already figured out for you with some customizable fields about how to integrate Istio into an Istio agent into Kubernetes with Kagent.
That's right. It's an instance of a K-agent customer resource. Yeah, I
Okay.
definitely agree with that. So basically, you will see Istio agent.yaml deploy in the cluster by default. Unless you disable it, you will
Okay.
see Cilium agent.yaml deploy in the cluster when you install K-agent by default, which means their pods and services and their service account will also be stood up in your Kubernetes cluster. And you will
Mm-hmm.
see K gateway, I believe is one of them. I think Prometheus is another one, and Argo rollout. So you will see these concrete agents deployed in the cluster, and each of them has its own agent customer resource, which contains specific instruction for the agent, specific tools each agent use,
Mm-hmm.
using the agent customer resource definition.
Deploys agents into your cluster. And then, for example, Istio Cilium. Did you say Argo CD or
Yeah,
Argo workflows?
we have Argo rollout.
Argo rollout.
Yeah, and I think we have Prometheus.
Okay.
In my environment, unfortunately, I disable most of the agent because because each agent takes 200 meg of memory,
Okay.
200 or 250, which so if I don't need them, I'd rather them not run.
Yeah. Argo rollouts. Prometheus,
Yeah.
etc.
Prometheus, Kubernetes. I think we have a key gateway agent too.
Isn't it running on Kubernetes? Why do you
Uh,
Kubernetes? It's just helps you
Great
manage your
question.
Kubernetes.
It
Yeah.
has, yeah, it has Kubernetes agent to help you like troubleshooting your Kubernetes cluster, to help you like apply
Okay.
YAMLs, to help you get logs, get events. So it can still help you kind of interact with your Kubernetes cluster using natural language, right?
Okay.
And debugging and troubleshooting.
Okay. I'll put Kubernetes troubleshooting. Wow. Okay. So we have a question right now, and I want to honor that. So thank you, Luke Patrick. And Luke is asking, speaking of Argo CD agents, the ideal use of Argo is with GitOps, where changes happen in Git, synced by Argo, and my clusters are essentially read-only otherwise. Does K-Agent play nicely here?
Yes, I
Good
would think
question.
so. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So the nice thing about Argo is, your changes are in GitHub, it's automatically synced. What's interesting with K-Agent, in fact, I actually, in my book, not to cheat right now, but
I
but
mean, you're meant to cheat.
in the book, we had an example of AI reliability engineer agent, and that agent actually used one or two tools from the Argo CDMCP server because we want that agent to be able to kind of troubleshooting pods and services and connectivity issues. And in order for the agent to work, a lot of time it needs to kind of based on the Argo CD application to figure out the GitHub repository. And then based on the GitHub repository, the agent could potentially submit a GitHub PR. So so it definitely would play nice. That's also why it's important. Sometimes you adopt standards, right? Especially standards like MCP, which is the universal protocol for agents to connect with tools. So it plugs in really nicely here. I hope that answers your question, by the way.
So when you have an agent deployed to your cluster, let's just say for simplicity's sake, one of these agents that we're familiar with, are they meant to be read only to help you, or are they enabled to make actual real changes to your cluster?
That's a good question. So it really depends on how you want your agents to be. Some of our simple agents are actually pretty, has a lot of privileges, but you don't have to make it so. So like one of the Kubernetes tools was apply manifest, right? So if you give enough permission to your agent to allow your agent to apply the manifest, then it could potentially apply something that you don't want it to be applied. So yeah, it's configurable. And the other thing we're also adding to K-Agent is kind of providing that security and privacy to your agent by running your agent inside of the agent sandbox. For those of you who are not familiar, agent sandbox is a Kubernetes SIG project under Kubernetes SIG. It provides this isolated runtime environment for your agent. Well, it kind of have a sandbox as a first class resource in Kubernetes. And then you can say, instead of deploy your deployment, you can deploy a sandbox. And then you can configure it to use a sandbox runtime.
So it's a sandbox within Kubernetes where you can run agents.
Yeah, well, you can run your agent within the sandbox. Yeah.
Okay. And then how does that work with K-Agent? Oops, deleted prod.
Yeah, so when you create your agents in K-Agent, you can specify your agent to be a sandbox type instead of the usual declarative type. So if you need a more strong isolation and security.
Okay, so in K-Agent. And why would you ever not do that?
That's a great question. I think security always comes with a cost. I mean, people talk about security a lot, but in reality, I think security comes with some complication, right? So for instance,
Uh-huh.
in order for you to run the agent sandbox, you have to run the agent sandbox controller who can process the sandbox customer resource. And the moment you run sandbox, you might be surprised your agent stops working because you need to figure out how do you configure traffic in and traffic out. So
Okay.
security adds a lot of I guess a lot of cost to learn to config and also more resources to run them. So it's like, do you want your house to be as secure as White House, or do you want just to be a normal house, right?
uh, so is this what I don't quite understand is this meant to run Kubernetes or is this meant to run my custom business logic application on Kubernetes?
That's a good question. You mean the sandbox or K agents in K agents?
The agents in K agent.
So basically, you can ask the agent to do anything you wanted, right? Because
Uh-huh.
it runs on an agent framework that can process conversations. Some of the examples we ship are CNCF project related agents, but you could, depends on how you program the agent. That's why it's a programming framework. Depends on how you
Okay.
program your agent. You could potentially have your agents to maybe like open up Google Slides and do some slides for you, or maybe book
Oh.
some travel for you. Depends on how much trust and you want to give your agent, but it has to keep capable framework to do so. By the way, the K agent by default uses Google's agent development kit as the engine to run the agents. But you can also bring your own agent runtime. So I believe we support a bunch of other runtime. I know Crew AI is one of them. In addition to ADK,
Hmm.
I think we also support non-chain. What else? There's a couple we support. Yeah, to allow you to bring your own agent. Yeah, LangGraph we support.
Okay, the default is Google what?
It's Google ADK, Agent Development Kit. It's an open source project started by Google maybe a year ago,
Okay.
maybe slightly over a year.
And then it also supports crew.ai.
Yeah,
Leaving for my face. Yeah.
and LangGraph.
Cool. Um,
Yeah, I want to
okay.
weigh in. I saw look in the chat was mentioning about deleted prod. I assume he was referring to we could potentially the agent could potentially accidentally delete something in the production environment, which is
Uh-huh.
possible, but you don't have to configure your agent to do so. Like the tools you provided to your agent and also the permission you give to your agent doesn't have to enable that. uh, I think the samples we provided might do some of that, but we were only doing that for illustration purpose to show it's possible. Doesn't mean you should do it.
uh, I'm definitely not going to configure mine to delete prod. I've decided after some deep thinking about it. Um, so, do you want to speak more about security? This all feels to someone, especially on the outside of, I guess I have questions. Like, one is like, how do you know? This seems it's meant to make running agents on Kubernetes more simple, but
Yeah,
because there's so many options and so much to know, in this very short explanation, it makes it feel complicated. Um, and so when is it worth it to run an agent on like why do you want to run your agent on Kubernetes at all?
that's a
Or
good
what is it
question.
you yeah, worth it to use K agent too?
I mean, think about it. A lot of people today are running their agents on their laptop, which is a coding
Mm-hmm.
agent, right?
Yeah.
But what if I don't want to run it on my laptop and my laptop is not always on, right? So
Mm-hmm.
think about you may want to run a long running. Actually, we just run a hackathon and somebody created a project. I forgot the name, but it's essentially teach their Kubernetes cluster to be more frugal. So basically, it has a long running agents in
Uh-huh.
the cluster and keep looking at how the resources can be more efficient and
Mm-hmm.
how should they maybe resize their Kubernetes cluster and look at
Okay.
their usage pattern, which I think is a great example of running your agents all the time, right? And you
So
don't want to run it on your laptop.
so for long running agents, to watch Kubernetes is what I heard, and for long running agents.
Yeah, to just to do like resources kind of a cost control for you, to
Uh-huh.
make suggestions to you, which I think is pretty powerful. The other thing I think it's useful is to help you troubleshooting problems. Because I remember sometimes I would stuck at a problem for 30 minutes or longer and I couldn't figure out. And sometimes the agent could potentially help you before you bug a real human. So you know, sounds like too silly.
Performance, cost, etc. I mean, I imagine they're just the normal Kubernetes reasons of HA, like high availability, would apply here. Um,
Yeah, it
yeah.
could. But what's nice about the agents though is you can customize it to focus on what's important to you, right? Which is super
Mm-hmm.
nice. I mean, there are so many tools about Kubernetes out there. There's no lack of resources in Kubernetes. But the
Mm-hmm.
challenging though is how do you actually customize it to something that's meaningful and useful to you, that
Mm-hmm.
what you care about, right? And like if for that particular user, he care a lot about cost and he care a
Mm-hmm.
lot about efficiency. So he created this project to kind of have his agent to help him save cost, which is pretty cool. And the other scenario we see very common is repetitively to do something, right? Like when you keep onboarding new people to the team, you keep training new people on different tools and projects in Kubernetes. Why not have agent to be their first point of person to get them on board, right? If they need a real human, then you're always behind, but at least you don't have to be that first point person and keep repeating the same thing again and again.
Luke has a question. I'd like to postulate an answer to Luke's question, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. Luke's asking a very good question, which is to restrict agents made by Kagent. Is that controlled via service accounts, roles, role bindings, or what? So you said already that service accounts is one of the things that's made when you make a Kagent custom resource, an agent custom resource in Kagent. But I would imagine that anything you do to restrict a normal application is something you can also do to restrict an agent. So, like if you use Spiffy Spire to automate workload identity and restrict at that level, you could do that with a K agent workload, since in the end it's just a Kubernetes workload. Um, but is that the right answer, or what specifically do you need to do because there's an LLM inside to be extra careful from
That's
this
yeah,
identity side?
I think this is a great question. I would definitely agree. Whatever you are doing today can continue to be used, right, to secure and provide auth policy to your pods and services in Kubernetes. And this is also why a network policy or service mesh can be very useful. So you can apply policies on cryptographic identity. But in the world of AI agents, so we're not just talking about at HTTP layer. Sometimes it's the conversation layer, the context layer, right? So there you likely need additional security and policies that's more relevant to your context layer. So for instance, like in K-Agent, we recently add a human in the loop approval process for executing tools. So when you build your agents, you can specify I'm using 20 tools for my agents, but out of the 20 tools, these 5 tools, because they are either delete something or apply something, they're not read-only, it would require approval of the human. So you could actually configure it to be this particular tool requires approval. And then what happens is during the execution time, when the agent decides that particular tool needs to be invoked, it would ask you permission. Hey, do you want to invoke that? So that is one thing. The other thing is also the policies, layer 7, and also the context layer, like prompt guarding, and be able to apply policies on the context layer. I think that's also very, very important in the world of agents and MCP server tools. Just to have that actual confidence that you could potentially control your agent behavior.
So so you're still using policy, but you want to do policy at the L7 layer and at the network layer.
And potential at the context layer, which is above layer 7. Because layer 7, when we talk about layer 7, we typically talk about HTTP layer at the header, right? At the header of the HTTP, but not passing the actual conversation or the body of the HTTP. The agent conversation, that context, which is an additional layer on top of HTTP, which you could potentially by us too as well.
Did OCI just grow by 1? Do we have L8 now?
Yeah, that's some people call it L8. Yeah, for the context layer. Yes.
And so the way to get the policy, the context layer policy, is simply the human in the loop thing, or is there more to it?
There's more to it. Yeah, the human in the loop is definitely a thing. There's more to it, such as like MCP gateway, for instance, allows you to configure auth based on what tools you can use. And I use that a lot because a common problem with MCP is the context bloat, right? So when you input external MCP, or if you have a MCP in your cluster, you don't need the 50 tools. So you could potentially using authorization policy to kind of restrict that these are the MCP tools you want to make available for people to use in your cluster.
So Luke, thank you so much for all your good questions. We have another one from Luke, and I think, okay, let's just go with Luke's and then we'll say my thing. So K-agent multi-tenancy. How do we deal with multi-tenancy, and how do agents help share clusters?
That's a good question. I think that I would say that's a one, just to be honest with you, it's something we'll have to look a little bit more in K-Agent. Right now, the multi-tenancy is you can run K-Agent, you can run your agents in K-Agent in the K-Agent namespace, but also in other namespaces. We don't do anything extra to support multi-tenancy in K-Agent other than what Kubernetes provides, and also what you can apply policies potentially between your agents running on different namespace. So you can apply policies to your namespace level using something like Istio, apply an access policy. You could potentially do context policy, but I don't think we have that right now in K-Agent or open source yet. There may be some enterprise offering around that, but definitely not in open source yet.
So I think what I'm craving, and maybe you have other ideas for this, last bit of space, but what I'm craving are some examples that bring it together. Like, yeah, I want to know some use cases.
I think the example sounds good. So
Okay.
are you thinking you're not talking about example YAML, but sample user cases,
Yeah,
right?
user cases. Yeah. Uh-huh.
How people use this K-agent. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of our user actually is it's a company called Ancestor,
Uh-huh.
where you can find you can help find like your and parent ancestry information. So it's
Uh-huh.
kind of a
Okay.
very fun user, and they are also a contributor to K-agent as well.
Oh.
So honestly, I think they were just using K-agent to help their team to be more efficient, to help them like troubleshooting and like passing knowledge around, which is a good way, right? Because what the good thing about K-agent is once you build an agent running in K-agent, somebody else can use that agent a lot easily because once you define
Mm.
this is a helpful agent for this particular domain for my organization, and somebody else could
Mm-hmm.
potentially use it without a lot of knowledge in that specific domain.
Okay, so creating knowledge about creating agents to help share knowledge and workflows.
Yeah, that and
Okay.
also specifically knowledge around their Kubernetes cluster, right?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And the specific tools. I remember they did a presentation to K-Agent community meeting. I think they were using Argo. They were using some type of API gateway. So the K-Agent agent would be able to help their user bootstrap understanding some of the projects they are using a lot faster, and also using natural language.
So this is am I right to say that would be like a platform engineering use case?
Yeah, definitely. So K-Agent really is designed for platform engineer and DevOps engineer, right? Which I think we tend to call more on platform engineer these days
Uh-huh.
to help them, operate their Kubernetes cluster, learn different cloud native projects in the ecosystem.
Operate, troubleshoot. So not only does it help share the knowledge, but it helps get things done faster, especially things that need to be repeated. So if you're a
Yeah,
platform team and
exactly.
you make a capability and you have a certain shape to your capabilities, regardless what it actually is, K agent or creating an agent on Kubernetes can help with that.
Yeah,
Huh.
totally.
And what's another example?
The other example is connect to Slack, which we use it
Oh,
a
interesting.
lot ourselves too. When
Uh-huh.
you connect your agent to Slack, people inside of the organization can easily ask, right? So they can easily ask
Ah.
add support, for instance, to ask the agent to help, can you connect me, helping me understand who else asked these questions or similar question, in the past 30 days? Or can you help me understand which other customer, because you can connect to like a ticket system and a lot of internal databases. So you can ask, can you help me figure out which other customer might have this issue? Or can you tell me if this issue is already resolved, to help, reduce that troubleshooting and support time to be a lot more efficient. That's also a very common user case with agents running K-agents.
To find patterns and reduce toil. Um, how does so okay, let's say we're making a Slack bot to help connect users to the ticket system.
Yeah.
Um,
It's not just
what
ticket
does
system, by the way. It's also like that's the beauty about it, because you probably have a search system with your ticket system. It's more
mm-hmm,
about it's connecting, because with the agents you can configure. These are the MCP tools you have access. So it's not just the ticket
mm-hmm.
system, but also Slack history and also maybe some internal databases.
Yeah. So K agent, that's what I was basically about to ask was like what does Kagent add to this? So it adds the ability to easily connect to MCP tools. Like what does like Istio, Cilium, Argo rollouts have to do with your Slack bot?
That's a great question. In this case, they probably don't. But what Kagent adds the value is it has this agent customer resource. You can deploy your agents very easily without writing code. I think that's the most obvious thing I would mention. And also the best thing about Kagent, because if you look at about how do you get started to create your own agent, when you look at what's in the market there, normally you need to understand which library are you using, which development kit are you using. What's nice about Agent though, it's kind of abstract that into the agent resource where you got to specify the instruction and the tools and the models, and it would execute this for you within ADK by default, and you can plug in your own preferred agent framework as well. So it kind of, when I think about Kagent, I think about the simplicity. It brings that declarative experience of creating a Kubernetes pod and services to agent. So you don't actually have to learn the underlying framework because it's abstracted out for you. And you don't actually have to write code to build some basic agent with Kagent.
I think that's maybe a good idea to end on. But before I rewrite that and have you restate it, Kagent adds in the platform engineering use case. That's probably when the agents around Cilium and Prometheus, etc., and Istio help. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean that's those sample agent helps. Yes. But Kagent is a framework that runs those sample agents. Which you could develop to do other stuff too.
Underlying CNCF agents. Cool. We just filled this board up fast, Lynn. We're crushing it. So in the end, even though it's a lot here, it's complexity always has to go somewhere. So the technologies that make a really easy, simple use case, like build packs as an example, tend to have the most crowded, complex boards because all that complexity lives somewhere. So in the end, Kagent is a framework that helps you. I'll let you say it, but it helps you have. It helps you create.
It's an open source programming framework to help you build and run agents in Kubernetes, and using the language people are already familiar with in Kubernetes.
So it's a framework to help you make agents.
Yeah, and run them in Kubernetes.
I'm going to say, okay, make agents in Kubernetes. And run them in Kubernetes.
Using the YAML language you're already familiar with. I think that's an important portion of Kagent, which is why I think when I think about Kagent, I think about simplicity because it's already connected to people already familiar with Kubernetes.
Got it. Simplicity.
Yeah, and Luke have another very interesting question.
Cool. Bring it, Luke.
The next one, the Phoebe and the friends.
What kind of friend will Kagent be in 50 and Friends? Maybe an Ibo puppy? I don't know what an Ibo puppy is.
I have to look it up too. I will consider that. But in reality, though, I think you have to be a CNCF graduated project to be able to have a Phoebe and Friends character. I went through this with Istio, which is how I know. It's the Sony robot dog. Okay, that's what I was the Google shows. Okay, thank you.
Those things are scary. Oh, yeah.
So maybe one day we actually applied for incubation. So one day when we graduate, we'll think about your idea.
We'll remember you, Luke.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to add to the board before I do a recap?
No, I think you're out of space too. And
Well, I
that's
can find little bits and pieces. I'll write over my face if I have to, Lynn, for you.
no. You captured it well. So if there's one thing I want people to live with is we focus on simplicity and bring the declarative experience to our cloud native users. That's what K-Agent is, bring that AI agent experience declaratively.
Declarative experience placed on the board. Yep.
Yeah, and also we endorse open standards, right? Like we talk about
Yes.
MCP, agent sandbox. We talk about, yeah.
Cool. I can fit that somewhere. Not on my. I bet there's room somewhere that's not. Endorse it. Endorse open standards. Let's see. Cool. Awesome. So I'm going to recap everything we talked about and see how well we all learned it. And feel free to add along the way or to correct me if I get anything wrong. So before K-Agents, the knowledge lines only with domain experts. You told a great hurricane story. And at first you were trying to solve the problem of there's Kubernetes networking knowledge that only our experts have during this outage during a hurricane. How can we use the emerging technology of LLMs and MCPs and coding agents to help solve this problem?
Yeah.
So from that, you and a couple of co-creators made a K-Agent, which is an open source programming framework for developers and platform engineers to build and run AI agents on Kubernetes. So we specifically talked about some CRDs or some custom resource definitions that help you bring K-Agent specific objects into Kubernetes. So we have the agent CRD, which as part of the agent CRD, you can say what type of agent you want. There's a K-Agent type, there's bring your own type, there's a sandbox type, and there are more. We'll talk about the sandbox type later. You tell it the prompt you want, the system prompt, so it knows what its overall job is, what description it is, so other agents know what it is and can call that agent as needed. You say which model you want to use under the hood. You give it some tools that that you can use. Those tools you can create yourself. They could be third-party tools, or K-Agent itself provides over 100 tools.
Yeah.
Examples being kubectl Git and kubectl Describe. You can, as part of defining an agent, you can specify the human in the loop or other things at the new context layer, OCI layer 8. You heard it here first. And so this Kubernetes CRD is just called agent. And once you make that agent, it's going to create for you pods, it's going to create a service, and it's going to create a service account to give that agent an identity that you can use like you would any identity in your any application identity that's running in your cluster. Now, there are other controllers, there are other types of resources that we didn't talk about, but there's an MCP server CRD, there's a remote MCP server CRD if you're bringing MCP servers from GitHub was the example used into the cluster for you to use. There's a model config CRD, etc. But the K-Agent controller for all of the custom resources, it's going to create resources to run those things for you to make it simple. Your user experience simple when you're wanting to run something or access something like MCP servers in your Kubernetes cluster to the agent that you create with K-Agent. Now, K-Agent itself, when you install it, also deploys agents into your cluster. It's very configurable, so you can turn this part off if you don't want it.
Yep.
But it will deploy using the K-Agent agent custom resource. It'll deploy instances of agents, Istio agents, Cilium agent, Argo rollout agent, Prometheus agents, and agents that help with Kubernetes and troubleshooting. So all that is accessible to you because a common use case for Kagent is a platform engineering use case where having agents to help you see and troubleshoot and create these sorts of resources with natural language is very helpful. But again, if you don't want that, you don't have to have it. Now, naturally, after talking about all of this, we got onto the topic of security. And so security, a couple of things. One, when you're working with agents, authorization is very important. So policies, we have that service account, but also if you're using Spiffy or Spire, like whatever you're already doing to provide authorization will work because it's just a regular Kubernetes resource. But we need to create policies at our normal network layer, the normal L7 HTTP layer, but also now we're thinking about making policies at a context layer, the layer where you talk to your agent. And we use human in the loop as part of that, but you said there are other things we can do to secure that context layer too. Did you want to say more about that?
Yeah, I think that's a faster evolving space, by the way, the
Yeah.
context layer. Yeah, like the tools of the MCP server, right? It's not a traditional thing. Like some of the proxy are adding support for that. I mean, Agent Gateway is a proxy I use a lot, which is also fast evolving to support these different context policy and auth user cases.
So context layer could be this human in the loop here, or also an agent gateway layer. Yeah, I've heard about caching agent responses, which is an interesting problem to solve too. But that's neither here nor there. So that's one aspect of security we talked about. Another one we discussed is agent sandbox. So the agent sandbox, it's a Kubernetes SIG, special interest group. And what they've done is they made a sandbox within Kubernetes where you can run an AI agent. So in Kagent, you can make your type of agent be a sandbox type of agent to make sure it stays isolated.
Yeah.
So that's another security option. So why, I asked the question, why run your agent on Kubernetes at all? Like I'm just running agents on my laptop, it works okay. So if you have a long running agent, that's a good reason to put it in Kubernetes. So if your agent is interacting with the Kubernetes cluster and system itself, it would make sense for it to run in that system. So that would be for performance, cost, etc. And then you might want to run your agent in Kubernetes for the same reason you run any workload in Kubernetes, which would be for high availability, for resiliency, also to integrate with all of the great tooling that's a part of the CNCF ecosystem that Kubernetes provides. And also with Kagent and why run it on Kubernetes, you have the declarative experience instead of an imperative experience, which we've all come to know and love and count on. I'll say too, Kagent has different interfaces for it. You can interact with your agents with a CLI or with a web UI, and there's an MCP that's part of Kagent too. So then I asked for some use cases. How do people actually use Kagent? So you talked about a company that they use Kagent to create agents to help share company-specific Kubernetes and platform knowledge. So to help, it's not just enough to use a third-party tool to do your troubleshooting for you. If you make your own and you like specify what your best practices are within your company, that is a good use case. And then that's when these underlying Kagent agents might come into play. Like you don't have to freshly figure out how to interact with Istio as an agent. There's already one for you that you can build on.
Yeah, one thing I forgot to add is Kagent. When you create your agents in Kagent, you can specify the agent skills you want your agent to use. There could be like a GitHub repository with a particular commit shard, or you could build a Docker image or just point to somewhere in your image registry as well. So this is particularly useful. In fact, I know we have users using it. This is particularly useful when you're building a personalized agent for your Kubernetes cluster for your company, where you have specific skills you want your agent config to use.
AI agent skills, which reminds me, you talked about and you endorse open standards and use those whenever possible.
Right.
MCP is an open standard. AI agent skills is an open standard. The agent
Yep.
sandbox is an open standard.
Yep.
Yeah. So, great. So we have these interfaces, and so how do people actually do it? A platform team use case is one that is common, you say, where you would have your company specific knowledge in an agent, but it also is easy to get set up. You don't have to build these things from scratch. You have the framework available to you. Another example you gave was something like connecting to Slack or a ticket system to find patterns or reduce toil or give access to the agent to a through a third party interface like that.
Yeah, improve the efficiency, basically.
Yeah. And so in the end, what K-Agent is, it's a framework to help you make agents and run those agents in Kubernetes with the YAML you already know. And it's meant to be simple.
Yeah, it's a CNCF project. We didn't say it.
CNCF sandbox project.
And we're applying for incubation right now. So
that's awesome.
Well, oh my gosh, you remember so well. I don't know how you do this with every other project. So you have great talent here, Whitney.
It's because I'm plant-based, Lynn, just like you. So let's end by saying, if people want to use the project, or if they want to help make donations, or if they want to get involved in any way, where do they go next?
Oh yeah, kagent.dev. We definitely would love you to visit there and kick tiles on Kagent. Install it in your Kubernetes cluster. Shouldn't take more than 3-4 minutes. Shouldn't take more than 1 or 2 minutes, and get your first agent running. Shouldn't take more than another 1 or 2 minutes. We also run a community meeting every Tuesday. We'd love you to pop in and join us. We have like hundreds of contributors of Kagent. In fact, we just reached 12 million downloads of Kagent, and we just started a project a year ago. So,
wow, that's very cool. So, if you go to kagent.dev, can you find out where to go to that community meeting?
Yeah, I believe. Let me go there now. There is a community link on the top. So when you go to that community link, you will be able to see the community meeting time, which next one is on May 12th. We also have a Discord if our community meeting doesn't work well for your time. So the Discord link is also on the website.
Awesome. Oh, Epic Tralala's here too. Awesome. So good to see you. You caught us just right at the very end. So I had forgot to tell you, and I just remembered this myself, but the way we end the show, Lynn, is we're going to play the intro music again and dance a little bit while we say our goodbye. Are you ready for this?
Dance? Oh my gosh, I know you dance.
Just wiggle your hands a little bit. Let's see if we can still do this. I pressed the button, I thought. There it is. All right. Thank you so much, everyone who was here. And thank you for all the good questions. And thanks for everyone who watches the recording. Yeah, Lynn, shake it. And thank you, Lynn, for sharing your time and expertise with us. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, Whitney.
Bye.